YouTube, how's it going? It's your boy Adiar, and I'm back. I know it's been a minute. Apologies for that. Illness and potential surgery dodging and all kinds of craziness has happened over the last 2 months, and unfortunately, I was not able to really stream or do much online. So sorry for that. But we've got a new season, and with a new season comes new videos and new streaming and new fun stuff. And like, I'm really excited for this upcoming season. Listen. Listen, I'll say it right now. Last season, I was like, it's crazy we got Rosa 2 before Bing 2. Bing 2's here. Still crazy we got Rosa 2 first, but you know what? Whatever. We got the Bing. The boy is here. He looks insane. And there's so much stuff coming in this new season. But I really just want to highlight a couple of key things because the power that we're getting on our characters this season looks to be just insane. So, let's go ahead and dive on in, look over some of the things that really caught my eye for the season, and yeah, we'll just go from there. If you're excited for the new season and would like to see more content regarding starting a character, farming, whatever it is regarding this game, and you're just looking for somebody to give you that information, why not stay around, stick around, sub to the channel, if you really got questions or anything that you would need answered, throw a comment on the video, or you can hop in the Discord link below in the description and you can always ask questions there. Now, let's get to it, you guys. First and foremost, we're getting the Ethereal Prism system. This looks to be insane. These are essentially items that you place in your talent tree that change either your core talents or do things to the nodes inside of your tree. And some of them look absolutely, like all of them look crazy. There were a number of them that caught my eye in specific. The first one that caught my eye was Unwavering Fortress. Unwavering Fortress lets you replace the core talent for God of Might, God of War, or God of Machines. Do note that a lot of these do have specific gods that they can replace. There are some that can replace any gods. This one says, the core talent for this says, your max life is fixed at 100. You have no evasion and no energy shield. Every 5 seconds, you gain, the translation here is weird, but essentially it looks like you gain a shield equal to 7% of your armor that absorbs 100% of non-true damage received. And whenever you get the shield back, so every 5 seconds you get the shield and then it refreshes every 5 seconds. So if you're stacking crazy amounts of armor, this could potentially go nuts. They've also added a lot of other armor stacking pieces. So it looks like they're really trying to push armor stacking as a proper build. Once again, it's kind of been in a weird spot where like technically it existed, but why would you ever play it? And it's kind of been in that state for a number of seasons now. So I'm really curious to see if Armor Stacker makes a return this season. The next prism that caught my eye was the Ethereal Prism Sweeping Fury. This one goes on Hunting, War, or Deception. And the core talent for this Sweeping Fury, core ranged horizontal projectile skills have a 100% chance on hit to trigger an extra release of the core skill, with projectiles firing in a circular pattern at 50% damage. There is a max projectile limit of 5, and you get 2 extra pierces on that repeat. This, depending on what that circular pattern actually looks like, this could be absolutely insane. Also, let's not forget, this could go crazy for things that have larger projectiles as well. So even if the pattern itself isn't great for smaller projectiles, if you've got like a larger projectile, which does matter for some skills, this could go absolutely insane. Especially if you're playing any kind of build that does like a damage over time, right? Like you're just getting more stacks, which is lovely. Like this could go really hard, I bet, for any of your damage over time stuff. So your wilt builds, your deterioration builds. I'm really curious to see just how strong this turns out to be. And it perked my eyebrows perked up the moment I read this. It looks insane to me. Continuing on, we have Keen Intellect, which goes over a Hunting, Knowledge, or Deception core talent. This one is a bit lengthy, but also looks crazy. For every equipped skill, you gain 5% spell damage. For every active and power skill, spell burst skills gain 15% hit damage. For each active curse skill, you get 5% elemental and erosion and armament. You get 5% all penetration, essentially. And then for every active defensive skill, you gain 15% max mana. For every active mobility skill, you gain 12% cast speed. I could see this going incredibly, incredibly hard if people are able to theorycraft this out. It's got a lot of potential. I'm actually really interested in the 15% max mana per defensive. That, I don't know, maybe there's something there. I have not had the time to sit down and like really cook with this yet, but just like off the initial reading, this really stands out to me. Continuing on, right next to that one, we've got Towering Presence, which goes over a might, knowledge, or deception talent, adds 100% of your main hand weapon's base damage to your spells and 100% of its critical strike rating to your spell's critical strike rating. I have, again, this is just I have not had a chance to cook with this yet, but this just seems like something that could be really cool to build around. And if you know me, I don't need to have the most overpowered build in the world. I just want to have, I just like testing stuff and having fun with builds. So this kind of a prism here, and like these two are just right up my alley. Both Keen Intellect and Towering Presence look really fun to just mess around with. Moving on, we have the Self-Delusion Prism. This goes over might, knowledge, or deception. This one says, for each crowd control applied to an enemy, deal 50% additional erosion damage. Applied crowd control effects are reflected back to the player. This could go crazy. What? Like if you can deal with the downsides and the control effects being on you, that is such a ridiculous damage multiplier. Such a ridiculous damage multiplier. I don't even know what. And it's not, that says for each crowd control effect. So you're getting 50% additional erosion damage per, which is insane. That might be the single strongest core talent we've ever seen. What? Oh my goodness. Guaranteed reaping is insane. When it goes over knowledge, war, or deception, so you're in deception anyway, so you're fine. When dealing damage over time, if the spell burst reaches max charges, all charges will be consumed. Reaps 0.9 seconds of damage over time for each spell burst consumed, with an interval of 0.15 seconds. This effect's reaping causes an explosion, dealing equal damage to enemies within a 10-meter radius. So this essentially allows you to get crazy reap explosions from spell burst. And you don't even have to trigger a spell burst. You just have to reach your max spell burst stacks, and then they get consumed by this core talent to cause AoE reap explosions. This is insane. MC is eating so good, I don't understand. By the way, mind control, nerfs. Thea 3, slight nerfs, they don't matter. So guess what build is gonna be crazy this season yet again? MC Thea 3, get your butts in there, mind control some stuff, blow things up, and have a hot gospel. I don't know what to tell you. It's crazy. Oh boy. Now, with the good comes the bad. We did get some hero trait adjustments. Thea had what Thea's again were like, she got nerfed, but it's not very consequential. Rosa caught quite a few nerfs going into the season. I did not play Rosa 2. I don't know how impactful these are. I would assume they are pretty substantial though. That tends to be just how this works. A character is never going to be more powerful than their debut season. So this was to be expected, right? Rosa was very strong. So, you know, I suspect she will still be a very strong and very fine character to play. On top of which, she won't be the debut character, so maybe you can actually get access to the mana stacking stuff at a lower cost going into this new season, if you were not able to do so last season, or if you just did not play her like I did not. As far as the new skills go, this new combo category of skills, so Crescent Slash and Serpent Beam, these are going to be wait and sees for me. For for as much as I would love to be able to like theory craft this out properly, whenever it comes to a new skill, in my opinion, it's all words on a page until we actually get our hands on it. And that's just how I approach them. I actually want to be able to play with the skill before I make up my mind on if I think something is good or bad or whatever it's going to be. Also, the supports, the canvas, these are the only canvas supports that we got added, which were the canvas supports for these new combo skills. They're going, it looks like they're going to be going into the fire pool and in the general physical pools, respectively. So if these skills are good, those pools get better, which is fine because generally those are the two worst pools of skills. Then usually you would be usually people block physical and or fire when they're farming canvas. So this could either help or hinder that. We'll just have to see how good these combo skills are going into the new season. Moving over to TLIDB, with the good comes the bad. Unfortunately, the sequence crafting from the current season has been heavily gutted. Many, if majority, I would say probably 90% of the advanced talents are no longer in the game. For scepters, for example, only a single one of the old advanced sequences survived. And all of the rest of them, almost all of the named advanced sequences have been removed. And I feel like the patch note in regard to this was maybe a little bit disingenuous because what this said, so here's the specific notes in regard to this. We aim to lower the R&D cost of tower sequence so that more players can experience this content. Tower sequences will no longer consume flame elementium, which is huge. This was like the flame elementium was such a driving factor and how little people could actually interact with this system. So that being removed is great. The component requirement for crafting non-priceless gear sequences has been reduced by 50%. This is also very, very good, especially with this not being the core feature this season. There's going to be less of those materials overall in the game because now people have to actually be farming that to be really producing that. So that is fine. On your priceless gear, you're still going to be having to pay the high costs. But I'll show you a couple of things in regard to the actual tree for this, which should make this a little bit easier to have access to if it's something that you yourself decide to target farm. And then additionally, on the fourth round, when you do your R&D, if you don't get anything on your thing, it used to be they would give you one option. You now get to select between two, which is great. I think this change here is great. This is where I think we get a little bit disingenuous. Removed low tier sequences. R&D failures will no longer randomly result in obtaining a low tier sequence. So what you would think is that they got rid of all the basic sequences, right? No, that's not what they did. What they did instead is they basically deleted the top end. So most of the advanced stuff they deleted. They moved the old intermediate section into the advanced section. They moved the basic into the intermediate and then just tried to that's why I say it's disingenuous. The way this is worded is disingenuous. You didn't remove the low tier stuff. You removed the high tier stuff and then just moved the low tier stuff into just changed it. Basically, they deleted the top end and then changed the name of the middle and the bottom end, right? That's what they've actually done. On top of which, even the basic sequences, because those are now considered the mid tier, those have been nerfed by, and it looks to be about a 20% nerf. So for example, the all stats was a 10% roll. That's now a 8% roll going into the new season. There's also just a lot of sequences that don't exist anymore. For example, on my Thea 3 build from last season, the Spellburst build, I was specifically using a sequence that was 20% duration, 20% AoE, and 20% cooldown. That was an intermediate sequence. That no longer exists anywhere. The deep pain aura, this one right here, this used to be 150 and then 30. It's now 120, 20. Many things look to have been nerfed by about 20% that did stay in. But also, do note that your intermediate sequences, them getting moved to advanced, means that they are harder to roll this season than they were last season. There is some good stuff in regard to that though. If we take a look at the void chart for Outlaw specifically, the void chart for Outlaw, if this is a mechanic that you choose to farm, does look very strong. You do get the option to target your expansion mods, which is great. There's a lot of nodes to increase your chances of getting bounties or getting multiple bounties. And there's also just a lot of drop quantity in here. Do note, however, in this tree, there is a lot of securities take less damage. So this may be one that you can maybe invest into slightly just to like farm up the materials. But if you, it feels like one that if you want to heavily invest in this, you're going to need to do a lot of damage because these guys get a ton of negative, of reduced damage taken, especially if you fill out this whole tree. It gets pretty crazy. Like if we can just control F additional damage, we've got 10% less taken there, 20% there, 20% there. So all in all, this is getting up to like 50% less damage taken if you fill out this tree. And if anybody played with the boss nodes or boss compasses from last season, you know how much that 30 or 50% can really add up real fast and making you feel like you're not doing a whole lot of anything to these mobs. So just be aware of that. But overall, I've looked through the Outlaw constellation tree, and I will definitely be farming this at some point this season, especially now that the mechanic only takes like 25 seconds. I really do love this tree. So expect to see me farming this at some point this season, just because I just like the mechanic, and with it being 25 seconds, it's just going to be more fun to farm. And then, of course, we have the new Bing. The new Bing is crazy. You get 3 talent options at 45. You get 3 talent options at 60. And you get 3 talent options at 75. We've never had this much customization within a character with this current system ever. So for somebody like me that loves just testing and iterating and doing things, Bing looks like a dream character for me. My only problem is he's a spell burst character. Spell burst tends to be pretty expensive if you really want to get into it. And the cheap helmet for spell burst, they've made it incredibly strong. Solid River has been incredibly buffed, but also much harder to get. So this is the new Solid River, and for those that haven't seen it, it gives you charge speed, it gives you automated burst, it gives you it gives you life and energy shield regain when you're spell bursting. It's crazy, but it's also not a general drop pool item anymore. This has now been moved. It can only be found in the Overrealm gameplay. So if we pull up this and go to Solid River, Solid River has been added to the loot pool for the Overrealm game mode. And there's been another number of items that have been added to some of the game modes. So Demon's Touch, the dual wield gloves have been put into Carjack, for example. The new Iris boots have been put onto those new cage mobs that they've added, which look really cool, by the way. You got to take the good with the bad. And I will say, even though we are losing candles, even though we do have a nerfed version of the sequence towers, which we did expect, right? Like we did expect that would catch a nerf going into the new season. The additions this season in the form of the prisms are absolutely insane. They are insane. Oh, and did I mention that there's a mirror prism? So you like good luck getting one, but like it exists. It exists and it's crazy. It copies your prism. So yeah, there's that. Anyway, I'm super excited for this. If there's any builds that you want any information on, if there's any like starter build stuff that you specifically would like to have information on, go ahead and leave a comment and let me know. I am working on all of that, getting all that compiled and out to you guys before the new season starts up on Thursday. So yeah, I look forward to seeing you all there. Be on the lookout for some streams going into the new season. I don't know how much I'm going to be streaming before the new season starts, but I will be multi-streaming for both platforms because I know some people like Twitch, some people like YouTube, and so I want to make sure that I'm getting out to all of you guys. So once again, I'm out of here. It's great to be back. I missed you guys. and I'll see you at the next video. Bye-bye.